Hey guys, we've talked a lot about the different types of transformations, and we've said that rotations, reflections, and translations all produce congruent figures, but dilations produce not congruent figures. But here they've just given us rules. How can we tell just from those rules which figures are going to be congruent and which ones are going to be not congruent? Well, there's a couple ways to tell. Um, if all we're doing is changing signs on something, if all we're doing is changing signs, then we've probably got a rotation or a reflection. So those would be congruent. Okay? All right. So that's number one. If we are adding or subtracting to y, adding or subtracting, that's a translation. And we know that translations are rigid motions and produce congruent figures, but not congruent. We produce not congruent figures, not congruent when we dilate. So how can we tell when we're dilating? That's when you multiply x or y by something. Usually x and y, okay? Now, normally when we change signs, we're multiplying, but in this particular case, I just want you to think about if you're just changing signs and not anything else, okay? So let's take a look at these guys here. I'm going to switch colors for us here so that we can, let's go with red. All right, here, we are just changing signs here and changing position there, so that's going to be a congruent, okay? Here, we are subtracting from x and y, and that is a translation. So that's going to be congruent. But look here. Do you see how we're multiplying 2 times x and we're multiplying 2 times y? That indicates a dilation. Dilations are not congruent. Okay? Over here, we're just changing signs again. That's going to be congruent. And then this last guy, again, we are multiplying x and y times 1/2. That indicates a dilation. In fact, it indicates a shrink, okay? And so that is a type of dilation, and that's going to go over here to not congruent. Hope that helps.